name is Benjamin Franklin Pierce. I served during the war between the states in the 15th United States Army Corps under General William Tecumseh Sherman and Major General John Logan. During the summer of 1864, we helped set in motion a key Union victory in the war. Well, us and the rest of the armies under General Sherman. Back in March, General Sherman had been made commander of the Military Division of the Mississippi, more commonly called the Army of the West. He replaced General Ulysses Grant when Grant was promoted to command all of the Union armies and hung his hat in Virginia, closer to the capital. Grant trusted Sherman, and the two worked well together. The Army of the West actually included 3 armies. The Army of the Cumberland was the largest, with 60,000 men under General George Thomas. The smallest was the Army of the Ohio, with 13,000 men under General John Schofield. And in the middle was Sherman's old command, the Army of the Tennessee, with 25,000, now under the command of Sherman's most trusted general, James McPherson. Together, Sherman and Grant worked out an ambitious, aggressive plan to bring the war to an end. Grant would focus on Robert E. Lee's army, centered around Richmond, Virginia. For Grant to succeed, Sherman would need to keep the Confederate General Joseph Johnston's army tied up, unable to reinforce the armies protecting the rebel capital. Sherman's plan to achieve that was breathtaking in its simplicity and its promise of destruction. He would march his armies across Georgia and eventually to the Atlantic Ocean, laying waste to all Confederate assets along the way, including the city of Atlanta, the heart of the South. The clock was ticking. In August of 1864, the former Union commander, George McClellan, who had been fired by Lincoln, was nominated as the Democratic Party's candidate for president. His platform called for peace negotiations based on the recognition of the Confederacy's independence. As far as we were concerned, that meant that if McClellan won, the Union Army lost. And it looked bad for Lincoln. The war had dragged on, there'd been too many Union losses, and people just wanted it over. Grant and Sherman needed to give Lincoln a clear and convincing victory to convince the people, the voters, that we would win this war if we didn't give up. War is politics, and politics is war. So, we set out in late April of 1864, moving south out of Tennessee into Georgia. We stuck with the Western and Atlantic Railroad as much as possible. It was our lifeline back north to our supplies. If we lost that, we'd soon be foraging for food, and not long after that, we'd be done. General Sherman made sure his men were trained in rail work, knowing that any Confederate damage done to the Western and Atlantic would need to be quickly repaired. The going was tough. Sherman and his generals knew their business, but so did the rebels, and they also knew the lay of the land. The rebel General Johnston would entrench his army in rugged country where he could hold us off, delaying our approach, making us pay for it. And Sherman would repeatedly flank the rebel army, sending a portion of his forces around the enemy's extreme left or right, getting behind them and forcing them to pull back to their next set of defenses. That's what happened at Rocky Face Ridge in early May, and we moved on to Resaca, forcing Johnston to fall back and dig in.
Fall back!
At Resaca, the rebels fought well, holding us a couple of days and causing more losses to us than we gave them. But again, General Sherman, or Uncle Billy as we took to calling him, figured out a way to flank them, and we moved further south. It went like that for 2 months, with the Rebs sometimes hitting us hard, but with our troops steadily moving south. Then we came to Kennesaw Mountain. Kennesaw Mountain stands about 15 miles north of Atlanta, an excellent natural barrier with rough terrain, thick woods, sheer cliffs, and hills. When Sherman looked out at the area around Kennesaw Mountain, he reported that the whole country was one vast fort, and Johnston must have at least 50 miles of connected trenches. Johnston's men were dug in, and they were also spread out far and wide. Flanking would be difficult, if not impossible. Roads were impassable, and the Confederate General Johnston's position on top of the small mountain gave him control of the railroad going south. Finally, Sherman decided that he would have to attack head on. He later said that both the enemy and his own officers were so used to his flanking maneuvers that no one really believed he would make a straight attack. This move would hopefully wipe away that perception. Sherman's three armies had distinct roles in the battle. General McPherson's Army of the Tennessee, where my own 15th Corps was stationed, would make a feint on the northeastern side of Kennesaw Mountain, but make its real attack on the southwestern portion of Little Kennesaw. That attack would be led by Logan's 15th, which meant a hot and bloody day for yours truly. General Schofield was to move out to his extreme right, demonstrating with his forces in an attempt to pull some of Johnston's army toward him, thinning the rebel lines. General Thomas's Army of the Cumberland would make the main assault in the enemy's center. Thomas was told he could select his own point of attack, so he surveyed the enemy's line. In his estimation, there was not much that looked to afford the slightest prospect of success. Battle began at 8 a.m. on the 27th. General McPherson's artillery opened up on Kennesaw, and the Rebs fired right back. Kennesaw looked like a volcano. Not that I had time to take in the sights. I was in Brigadier General Lightburn's brigade, part of the 15th, and we were to hit Pigeon Hill, a small bump on the buttocks of Little Kennesaw Mountain. We faced Confederate General Loring's corps, and though we had 2 more brigades of the 15th with us, we were in difficult straits. There were about 5,500 of us, attacking about 5,000 rebels. Given that they were deeply entrenched, and we were climbing, cutting, and crawling through dense brush and steep rocky slopes, we were undermanned for the task. In Lightburn's brigade, we even had to move through a swamp, knee-deep in the sucking mud, under heavy fire, mind you. Our formations fell apart. We were able to overrun the rebels' rifle pits. We were the 15th after all, but we were stopped there. Caught between Confederate General Walker's rifles on our south and rebel cannons based on Little Kennesaw, we were being cut to pieces and had to fall back. The other brigades had similar trouble, eventually hiding behind trees and rocks and taking shots at the Confederate works, which seemed all but invulnerable. Finally, General Logan himself rode up to survey the scene, saw his men were being butchered for no benefit, and ordered them to withdraw and entrench. General Thomas, charged with carrying the main attack, had to delay an hour to give his infantry time to arrange. His cannons opened up at 8 a.m. sharp, but it was another hour before his infantry could move forward. Unfortunately for us, the Confederate units holding the center were the two least likely to fold under pressure. Generals Patrick Claiborne and Benjamin Cheatham were blooded veteran commanders who had seen tough fighting in prior battles and emerged victorious. They were well entrenched and supported by cannons. The only weak point was a hill where limited forest resulted in significantly weaker abattis. Further, the lay of the land was such that for a portion of their charge, the Union brigades were blocked from sight. But they had to go through a hailstorm of bullets to get to that point. They call that hill Cheatham's Hill now, which should tell you how it turned out. They don't name hills after losing generals. Colonels McCook and Mitchell attacked the hill, but were cut down. McCook himself took a fatal wound. His replacement ordered a retreat, but many of their men were either unable to retreat or unwilling to leave cover to flee. 2,000 Union troops surrendered, while others feigned death to escape in the night.
Over there, sit down. Your own brother's gonna kill you. You gonna be dying by Yankee.
Yeah, it needs to be a pure bullet. Don't make it sick.
No, man. You know, if I wasn't married to your sister, I wouldn't even take a deal with you.
You shut your mouth.
Okay, I'm not married to your sister.
You know, I wouldn't be in this predicament unless the freaking order. What order? All that you just had to do was press the button. Well, you know, if you fucking do it. Press the line. Hard. Just right. Press. Oh, you're on the left flank.
We're pressing on the damn team! Hell, you boys must be brothers. Brothers that are lovers that never hurt each other.
All right, that's enough. Sergeant Major, stand down. Stand down. Work on. Make those bullets swing. We're gonna hold this line. Take your shots. Right now. Put down.
Just north of them, just around 10 a.m., the hot shells and wadding actually started a fire in the woods, and wounded Union soldiers were trapped, facing a fiery death. Then, Confederate Lieutenant Colonel Will Martin made a makeshift white flag of truce and waved it, shouting to Union troops to come and get your wounded. They are burning to death. We won't fire till you get them away. And both sides ceased fighting long enough for soldiers to rescue wounded Union troops. Once done, fighting resumed. I hope I'm making it clear that we were in a bad place. The only success of the day was General Schofield's. And while carrying out his orders to demonstrate on his extreme right, he found a place where our army could move around the Confederates. Late that night, Sherman finally agreed that this was the best strategy. Once again, we flanked Johnston's army, and once again, he felt forced to withdraw to a new line of defense. It was a bitter withdrawal, no doubt, as they had hit us harder than at any other time in the Atlanta campaign. But we were moving past him now, toward Atlanta. Things were by no means easy after that, though it would never be that bad again. Johnston continued to fall back as we continued to move forward, and we gathered willing rebel prisoners, deserters, by the hundreds. Eventually, the Confederate President, Jefferson Davis, relieved Johnston of his command, replacing him with the more aggressive General John Hood. The Confederate Army was unhappy with the change, not liking to see politicians pulling down a commander who had recognized the importance of keeping his army in the field and alive. Johnston's policy of strategic withdrawal had delayed our army at minimal cost to his own. Hood's strategy, while more aggressive, would be no more successful and considerably more hazardous to his troops. General Hood had lost the use of his left arm during the Battle of Gettysburg and lost his right leg in the Battle of Chickamauga. He'd lost none of his fight, though. As Sherman's armies approached Atlanta, Hood ordered an assault on Thomas's forces at Peachtree Creek. He lost badly, taking around 5,000 casualties to our 1,500. On that day, July 20th, the first artillery shells fell on Atlanta. Hood prepared another attack for July 22nd, this time against McPherson's Army of the Tennessee. That's right, my army. That morning, Sherman heard reports of the Confederates abandoning Atlanta, but this wasn't a withdrawal. General Hardee, who was angry over being passed over for promotion when Hood was placed in command, made a wide swing around McPherson's flank so that he could attack from the south. Fortunately for us, he mistimed his march, turning too early and hitting the 16th Corps head on. Our brothers in the 16th held Hardee off without much trouble, but it was still a tragic battle for us. Our General McPherson, riding almost alone, came upon a group of Confederate soldiers. A Confederate sharpshooter shot him off his horse. He made it back to our lines, but he was mortally wounded. In all, the rebels took heavier losses than we did, with almost 2,500 killed and 4,000 wounded, to our 500 killed and just over 2,000 wounded. But the loss of McPherson was a personal blow to General Sherman and to the soldiers of the Tennessee. When the battle was ended, Sherman settled himself in for a siege of Atlanta. In mid-August, Uncle Billy tried again, sending the cavalry of Brigadier General Hugh Kilpatrick to tear up the Confederate supply lines. On August 18th, he hit the Atlanta and West Point Railroad and tore up a small section of tracks there. Then, Kilpatrick hit the railroad near Lovejoy Station, about 6 miles southeast of Jonesboro. Here, Kilpatrick ran into trouble. As they neared Lovejoy's, they encountered some skirmishers. The Union cavalry easily pushed them back, and the rebel skirmishers took cover in the brush. The Union cavalry were cut to pieces. Marching through the night and heavy rain, Kilpatrick reached Decatur and safety on August 22nd, having traveled around both armies. He'd lost about 240 men, either killed, wounded, or missing, and had done about the same damage to the enemy. He estimated that he'd done enough damage to the railroad to prevent its use for 10 days. In truth, though, the damage he'd done had been repaired by the rebels by the time he reported to Sherman.
Get it down!
After this and the other failures of the cavalry to seriously disrupt the rail into Atlanta, Sherman decided that cavalry simply could not do this job. He planned now to send his infantry to do the job. By August 25th, we had held Atlanta under siege for over a month, and Uncle Billy was tired of it. He ordered 6 of his 7 divisions, over 60,000 men, to begin moving toward the Macon and Western Railroad, the last of the supply lines into Atlanta. They would strike at Jonesboro, where Kilpatrick had been unable to do lasting damage. The march took 4 days. On the morning of August 30th, the 15th Corps, including yours truly, halted in our march at a spot determined in advance by General Sherman. Well, it was August in Georgia, and we'd been marching for days, so we were right thirsty. 3 miles up was Flint River, and we moved there to get water. We ran into a bit of Confederate cavalry, but we put it to them quick enough. And before we knew it, we had crossed the Flint, which was the only natural barrier that offered some defense to the city of Jonesboro. By now, it was getting near nightfall, and General Howard told Logan to have us entrench along a line of hills, about a half-mile west of the river. General Hood knew that the Macon Railroad was our target, but he didn't believe we could get there so quickly. He failed to send reinforcements until the evening of the 30th, by which time the 15th was on the Jonesboro side of the Flint and digging in. We were already close enough to the Macon Railroad that we could interdict it with artillery, so there was no sense risking an attack. Better to entrench and let the Rebs come to us. It was the afternoon of the 31st before they were ready to do that. General Hardee had marched his men hard, but arrived still later than he planned. By then, we were reasonably well rested, while the enemy had been marching at speed through the night to reach us.
Over the trench!
On the Confederates' right flank, General S.D. Lee sent his corps straight to the 15th. They advanced just fine, right up until we let loose with our .58 caliber rifles. We cut them to pieces. Some took cover where they could, but many just turned and ran. Even S.D. Lee himself later said, "The attack was a feeble one and a failure." On the Confederate left, General Cleburne's men, who had performed so well at Kennesaw Mountain, were suckered by Kilpatrick's cavalry into pulling away from the field of battle and chasing Kilpatrick's men across the Flint to the Union side of the river. With both flanks faltering, the Confederate center was unsupported and fell apart. Rather than push the Union Army back across the Flint River, the rebels had smashed themselves bloody against our defenses. After the battle, General Hood, who was still in Atlanta, feared that Sherman was about to attack the city. He suspected that the move on Jonesboro was a ruse designed to draw Confederate troops out of Atlanta. So Hood contacted General Hardee and ordered him to send S.D. Lee's corps back to Atlanta to defend the city.
Colonel, you hear me call a man, all right?
Y'all keep that left foot.
Keep up the 5-second company.
Don't have him stepping all over.
Ready! 4th company! Aim! Fire! Quickly, boys! Quickly! Show them how good you are! Quickly!
The next day, Hardee extended his one remaining corps to cover the area that had been occupied by Lee's corps. Stretched thin, Hardee's single corps, bloodied and exhausted from the previous day's battle, now faced 3 Union corps right in front of them, with another 3 sitting in reserve. We attacked at about 4 p.m. The 14th Corps delivered the brunt of the attack, striking the Confederate line and capturing some 600 Rebs. By nightfall, the Confederate line was pierced in multiple places, completely overrun. General Hardee sent a message to Hood that Jonesboro was lost and the railroad cut. He moved his corps down the railroad to Lovejoy Station, where he entrenched. That night, Hood ordered the evacuation of Atlanta. The next day, September 2nd, the city belonged to General William Tecumseh Sherman. After 3.5 months, the Atlanta campaign was over. The fall of Atlanta didn't end the war, but it brought us much closer to the finish. News of the city's capture encouraged the people of the North, and Lincoln won re-election handily. Sherman kept us in Atlanta for about 2.5 months while we rested and healed our wounds. Then he continued his march to the sea. He finally cut us loose from the railroad, and we were forced to live off the land. We cut a path 60 miles wide and 300 miles long, destroying everything of possible military value as we passed. Sherman's march brought the Confederates in the West to their knees, and we Union soldiers were closer to our homes and the final victory.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.